Okay, holy bananas, we have a lot to cover, but that's exciting. Alright, so, in no particular order, when it comes to usually evolution and what we tend to do well with long-term, short-term, red is bad, green is good. So if you think of fish on the outside, some like salmon, red on the outside and red on the inside, all fish red on the inside, not good for long-term health. Meats, right, pork, cow, etc. Incidentally, on the flip side, there's green, which is good, like plants, whether sea plants or land plants. And usually when you pair green with blue, like growing a plant, or outside, like near the coastline, then usually you get the best stack, right? You get like EPA, DHA, salt, iodine, all incorporated into something like certain algae, right? Microalgae, macroalgae. So that's awesome, right? Green is good, red is bad. So here, if you have ferments and you're finished with, like, you're done with them, especially using them. If your mouth touched them, it's like 1 to 3 days, and then it's gotta go, and you don't want it to. That's if it's in the fridge. So yeah, and also reusing the same one over and over. When there's little substrate, microbes tend to go to one family and genus, so you don't have diversity, and that really concentrates. You want to wash them out every now and then, like with soap, water, sanitize cycle, and dishwasher is what I do, which is awesome. So kelp iodine, it's helped so much. Like just 1/8 of a teaspoon total is what we're getting daily, split across 3 meals. Apparently, it's around 1,500 to 500 micrograms around. It's great. You feel energized. It speeds up the thyroid. Pretty much thyroid hormone. It speeds everything up having to do with that pathway. And for anybody with nerve pains like fibromyalgia, MS, there's been a lot of studies done where it's helped them a lot. And the average intake for Japan is 1 to 3 milligrams. So the upper limit for US is 1.1 milligrams. But the Japanese also live, I think there's number 3 in health span and number 1 in lifespan. So take that as you will. But it's definitely better to get more, not less, for most people, especially from seaweed. It makes you feel awesome, energized. So yeah, the pain is going away at night, which is great. The pain, like, it started and then it went away, and then it started and went away. So kind of cool. This is post night comment, which it confirms what we were hoping. Yeah, and the cool thing is plants have high iodine, which a lot of people take for SIBO, because iodine is a super antiseptic, and it makes it to the top part of your intestine, so the small intestine, the first of the 3, and your stomach, and that's what it clears out, which is great. It also promotes bowel motility, because if you're like thyroidism, you actually have constipation. If you're hyper, you have diarrhea. Typically in a MS patient, there's a comorbidity of like 70%, which is crazy. And with IBD, it's 50%. So you're 4 times as likelihood that you get something like that if you have MS, because the vagus nerve, there's some nerve pathways that don't work. The great thing is, iodine from seaweed seems to fix that. So that's fantastic. It also helped with my gut, so that's fantastic. We covered that. Oh yeah, if you're gonna open like any fizzy drink, any like water, kefir that's really carbonated, you want to put something under it, like a Tupperware. Put the same Tupperware over it, and when you're opening it, apparently the trick is you move it to the side first releasing all the water, and then you push down, and then up, and then down, up and then down, and you burp it repetitively like that. You have another Tupperware on top in case it goes everywhere. You can maintain it, and most of the liquid will go into those Tupperwares, and then you can use it because it should be pretty fresh, and it only touched plastic for like a fraction of a second, or a few seconds, and then you pour it out. So it's a trick, which is cool. Okay, and then so if you overexert in a mass, usually you just kind of fail earlier than most people. There is, if you have fibromyalgia, there's some micro tears that are like super exacerbated by your nervous system. And if you don't have the nerves working all in tandem, you can get these tears more easily, because think of it like like an orchestra. It has to work in harmony, and if it doesn't, that's when you start getting those injuries. But again, none of them are actually as severe. And most of the time, unless it's crazy like a motorcycle accident or something, you're not going to have like true nerve stretch damage. You might have demyelination, but you really have to overexert yourself. So most of the time they're just micro tears in the tendon due to nerve issues, not firing when they should, and then your nervous system exacerbates that pain tenfold, which is not fun. But one thing that helps, for me at least, is focusing on my taste and my smell. So if I really amplify that by kind of pressing down on the nerves there, it works a lot for whatever reason on the rest of the body. Increased bowel, yep, we talked about the comorbidities. So soy and miso, that pressing down thing you do with the nerves and feeling doesn't work that well. So you definitely want to limit soy, even miso, and that's what Dr. Gundry says, or Dr. Terry Walls say. It's true. It doesn't help. I mean, I love miso, but it doesn't help the health situation. Yep, so iodine does take away pain. We mentioned the studies, and kind of the pathway. And we found out, because we took a lot of iodine, not a lot, but like through kelp, took probably at least 400 or 500 micrograms from the kelp. And by the way, it's hard to overdose because you have it's like a kickoff. I forget the reaction, but when you take kelp or any high iodine and the body notes there's high iodine, it will shut off thyroid hormone synthesis for 24 to 48 hours, saying, hey, we're going to protect ourselves. If you have seaweed, it's also usually between 37% and 91% intake, but closer to a third. So if you take an iodine tablet, it's 100% or 95%. If you take seaweed, it's like a third usually. And so it's very hard to OD with a lot of seaweed. You would have to eat a lot of seaweed, and usually how you prepare the food, you don't just put an entire teaspoon in your mouth. You would take a little bit. It's kind of like a spice, and so that's fantastic, right? So the body's got, and if you're if you're deficient, you will experience, and we'll get into that, symptoms of like, I'm super alert, I can't sleep at night. That's because your thyroid is taking in everything, because you were deficient. So if you're feeling cold, sluggish, not energized, and you take kelp like I did, you will feel wired completely to your core. You won't be able to sleep, but it's usually transient. It's called transient thyroid adaptation. It usually lasts a days to a week, but I'm already feeling much better, and it's been less than 24 hours. So I think the first hit is the hardest. So high carb does have something to do with it, but it's also soy that impairs, kind of hurts inflammation, especially at the nervous system level. And yeah. So the cool thing is there's a lot of ancient texts in China, Japan, India, even Africa. They state the pains of psychological store in the limbs, joints, gut, and as physical. And so we did EMDR, which is pretty much this is the best way I found, is you put on a headset and you literally Google or YouTube Music, Spotify, the 60 beats per minute metronome. It's one of the first ones that come up, and it will go left, right, left, right, and then you go left, right, with your eyes and kind of slowly. So you might want to do it at every other, right, and then you also sway. What this does is it incorporates your visual, your audio, and then your actual physiological, you're swaying, and all those three things while you kind of go into those memories that are really tough, and you will find that those memories just become so pleasant. They're horrible and they become pleasant. They become relaxing. I have no idea how there are pathways in the brain, apparently it competes, and that pathway also relaxes, so it calms the vagus and it associates the calming effect with it. But anyways, it works great. And you also feel much lighter afterwards. You feel changed, kind of. And if you do it really well, you'll feel rewiring in your brain. You'll feel kind of dizzy afterwards. A lot of people have reported that on YouTube. I felt it. It's crazy. So it's fun. And it really works. So just keep on rolling. Whisper flow, if you have that on, unlimited. So not close in 5 minutes, but unlimited, because you don't want to keep tapping the open button every time you text. You can't talk to Siri. So Siri or Hey Siri doesn't work. So you have to close it. And then you can say Hey Siri. We talked about that. We will get into these, but I can probably summarize here. You would need a ton of spirulina, even unless you get it in the wild. Usually the grown commercial, we're talking 200,000 kilograms per day. You can't. If you have gut impermeability, I wonder if it's heightened, but you really can't cause ALS with just most commercial high quality spirulina. We talked about this, what happens when you go from deficient to surplus. This is what we're doing now. So apparently natural short sleepers, they are super efficient with not only mitochondria but nerves. And I know seaweed, if you look at all the seaweed benefits, a ton of them have astaxanthin, fucodin, alginates, and a lot of the antioxidant properties are targeted to the nerves. They're even using spirulina for ALS, against ALS. And it's been the same thing with chlorella. Pretty much if it's a sea plant, it's really good at anti-inflammatory in general, but especially for the nerves. They just happen genetically, but if you're looking to recreate that, iodine correct, salt correct, because those go hand in hand, and in the water, naturally they are. A lot of salt, in the sea, and a lot of iodine in the sea. If you get sea plants, it even drives that further. So it's a huge benefit. You probably won't get to 4 hours of sleep and then you feel fantastic, but they also have energy all the time. So there's something there. Anywho, when your metabolism decreases because you don't have enough food, all of these go down. Everything drastically, actually. So all of these go down is the short answer. So most of the Plus models are around $20. Most of the Pro models are around $200. And most models have free tiers, but some don't, like Abacus I don't think has one. And you can see here, I sure hope I'm sharing this okay. You can see here what I started doing, we'll get into that. Carrageenan. So carrageenan exposed to acid, especially acid hydrolysis, does degrade into I think it's, God, I don't want to get the name wrong, but it ends in gene, and it causes gut impermeability, which then causes inflammation, which then probably causes cancer. On top of that, there's heavy metals usually bound in like sea moss that has carrageenan. So, but usually it's just that carrageenan breakdown that is known to cause it, although there's conflicting support, and honestly, complex carbohydrates, especially like fibers, can cause gut inflammation depending on who you are and how your digestive system is and immune system and microbiome is. So it might cause some inflammation in some people, but again, most of it says that it does not cause cancer, and we're talking about just carrageenan from the seaweed. Is what we found. So how much iodine can you absorb? It's probably fine. How much iodine can you absorb in a single sitting? So usually it's 300 to 500 micrograms. More than that, the thyroid says it's a lot. We're probably going to shut down. But again, there's individuals who have consumed like 1 to 3 milligrams in one meal. Like the Japanese will have some sort of seaweed meal. They'll be fine the next day. TSH goes up by 150%, so that's thyroid stimulating hormone, and they're fine. So there's, again, protective elements there. We will get into this, but these are all the seaweeds, sea plants, and the sea nutrients to summarize here, we were trying to do a summary, is this is a different family than this, is a different family than most, Dulce, Nori, Gelenium, and sea moss, which are red, is a different family than the rest of them, which are brown, seaweed. This is not actually even technically, this is the cyanobacteria, these are all eukaryotes, I think, yeah, so, but anywho, they all have a ton of concentrated antioxidants. Iodine is super high in brown. Nori actually does have B12 at doses you can live off of, and it's not the pseudo B12. Spirulina does have pseudo B12, which competes with yours. Kelp has, all the browns, we mentioned have iodine. What else stands out? That's pretty much it. And they all have, like, chlorella has easily per weight, like 5x or 10x the amount of chlorophyll. Don't quote me on that number, but we're talking a magnitude more than just leafy greens on land, so land plants. And most of these sea plants, they're just known to be very concentrated in a lot of the beneficial compounds. You do not want to consume this one because of arsenic, but all the other ones are pretty good if you can find them. And what we're going to do is actually paste this here, and this is the same. This is kind of a unique list with the common and then the scientific, and here you can see they're organized. So this is brown, this is red, sea moss isn't, but it's very similar to red, and this is chlorella and spirulina, each in their own. That's that. So one thing that's cool in video games, but it's cool in life, if you project forward into the future and think, like, what do I need to do tomorrow? It's good to do that in the present, like focus on the present, but then occasionally project out into the future, because it will actually help you make better decisions in the present, and doing that consciously. So for instance, when I was researching these, I was like, what am I going to do? Well, I want to buy them. Why? Because I want to eat them. And how am I going to eat them? Some of these have crazy iodine levels. I don't want to cross two of these, like kombu and kelp. You will get a ton of iodine, way more, especially if you eat them at large doses than you need or want. So I needed pretty much the nutrient weights and like which nutrients stand out for which. And that's something I baked into a response, which we'll get to here. But this goes into the other AI tip. If you're asking AI, it's good to build a ton of questions together in one mega question. And you'll see what that looks like. But it's instead of just asking one by one. In that way, you can leverage pro models, even on the free tier, for the full question. All the answers, like all of these questions you see a $sign for, they were all asked in one go. You can tweak it, make it very good. Ask one first, see what you get, and then ask the rest the same super mega question with some questions. And it was cool because projecting in the future helped you do that. Because to make a mega thing and be efficient like that, you kind of have to say like, oh, do we have any other questions? And keep like looking in the future of what you want to ask, so you can build it out in the present and ask it in one go. Because once it's sent, right? So that's cool. So I do this thing. So when I'm speaking like in English, y después hablo español, y après en français, e dopo in italiano, und auf Deutsch, and what is the other one? Oh, e in Portuguese. When you switch like that, you switch the language, and what I do is I switch the language to like recall and research. It's kind of weird. It's like, but you use the same place in the brain that you would for languages, so everything comes super fast, like, and natural, and like you even look at it and it internalizes. It's fantastic, and you make all these connections. When you do that, you do not want to be in a vulnerable location. So I was out in the sun, and my skin not ideal for sun. You just get burned and you don't notice because you're so like in it. So anyways, definitely pick if you're gonna do that. If you do that, and then so pressing. We talked about this. Pressing, smell, and taste helps everything else. Even movement is fantastic. We talked about the highest tier models are crazy expensive, and most of the time you don't need it. Like even for everything, you would have to. I think it's 250 deep research, and they build like a report that takes you like a quarter of a day to read. You need it in 1 month. That is insane. Like unless that is your full time. Even for me, research, like I can't even get close to that. So anyways, and then eat the sea plants we have in order new. That's fantastic. Okay, in order to finish somewhat summaried, what we're gonna do is we are going to just blaze through this. So bottom line, all the AIs I loaded are the top ones, including Abacus, which I don't have loaded because you have to pay. You can improve your sense of smell. Some are born with genes, probably the cells, and probably something in the microbiome that helps them. But you can not only detect different smells, so 3,000 to 10,000 different perfumes, for instance, for perfume aficionados, but you can detect if there's like only, 1,000 molecules in the air. That's crazy if you can detect that. Some people can't, so they can work their way down from 2,000 to 1,500, 1,000, so they can really get down there. I think the world record is actually 2,700, which is Joy Milne. She can detect Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, diabetes with her smell. She was 12 for 12 on a t-shirt, but that's crazy. So you can actually develop both of it, and it's a use it or lose it. That's cool. Nothing. Yeah. So if you're really struggling with something and you give it up to God, God will kind of help you, make you do things, make you see things, nudge you in the right direction. You just get yanked. A lot of people say that you do get yanked, and you truly have to give, like, you have to commit. It's almost like you're like, here you go, completely and utterly. That's when you get some crazy, amazing things shown to you that you wouldn't have ever been able to do alone. So, okay. So that is the summary there. We're gonna jump in here. Yeah, the Apple, always buy Apple. Apple has an audio jack to iPhone 16, the USB-C, and for iPhone like 11 or older, it was, I think the Apple Thunderbird or something like that. So, always, Apple's just, and they cost like $9. The other one costs like also close to $9. There's a lot of knockoffs, but that's the prime takeaway. MS, interesting enough, if you eat C, anything, you have lower incidence of MS, even fish, but again, totally plant-based, so anything C, really. And nori has EPA, by the way, quite a lot, and it has a ton of taurine, way more than a lot of animal products. It has like 1,000 per 100 grams, and it only takes 10 grams for one of those like little nori packets, so fantastic, right? Iodine, yeah, with iodine, so it's not, and you get all of this from C, so you gotta get something from the C, and your diet is fantastic. And these, did we say, yeah, for EMDR, we can go into this now. So EMDR is done in many cultures, like with bells, with drums, with kind of even shouting, even walking, left, right, anything that has a left, right, anything is EMDR, and they've done it throughout the ages. The key points are with somebody else. Yeah, with somebody else, and as part of like a ceremony or preparation. But yeah, you yeah. Okay, and then we're actually gonna use Gemini, because Gemini I like a lot. Love ChatGPT, and it consistently scores #1 a lot, for especially for accuracy. But Gemini is way up there as well. There's some etymologies. Here are the EMDR, ancient drummings. Okay, so we're gonna keep going because we gotta keep it short and summarized. So what I've started doing, I literally take what I'm gonna send, and I can go here. Like, I'll type it out here, copy it, and then I'll send it, paste it here, send it, and I'll send it down the line. And here's Perplexity, Claude. I mean, we can go through these. Claude, Grok, GenSpark AI, there's Manus, then you have Illicit and Consensus, and all of them are great. These three are super heavy, deep research. These really, all of these give a little bit of different every answer, and I like that. And you can see which ones kind of confirm the other one, which is nice because they all train on a little different data set, little different weights, right? And a lot of people are working hard on each of these to make them the best, and they all have their own magic, right? So if you combine them all, you get a lot of magic. Again, the toxin BMAA is, yeah, we already talked about that. It's probably not going to go from spirulina commercial. So the ones you're seeing here are the final choices if you're buying, like, based on all the chats and all the reviews. So you can see here, these are they. If you see 2, that means 2. So like Nori, both of these are pretty good. If you don't see any, that means they didn't have any. Star Wars Botanical, Eden, Maine. Those are the 3 brands that will keep coming up. Eden. This one was okay, it's high rated, there's a lot of ratings, but again, Star Wars Botanical. Then there's this Asian one, which is the only one you can choose, but seems pretty good. So, I think we'll roll through very quickly this and what this looks like. So, iodine, that's what we talked about. Kerrigan, if we already talked about it, I'm just going to blaze through it. Here's kind of the breakdown on the taxonomy. Here's a little bit of that work we were doing. Again, you'd have to go, yeah, you'd have to really ingest a ton of spirulina, quite literally. Here's where it starts saying which ones were actually tested, because we need them tested. We need them peer reviewed, the brands and the products. And here's kind of a breakdown of which ones they were, and you can see a lot of iodine, whereas red has a lot of magnesium and iron. Spirulina and chlorella have a lot of protein and chlorophyll. Okay. And again, this we talked about it. Star Wars Botanical seems to be fantastic. And this is where, and you can see most of them are very similar to this, so it's pretty cool. And that is that. I think we covered everything, so hopefully that helps you out a lot. Yeah, awesome.